Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the steering committee's leaders and the people of Kutubu and Bosavi, thank you MPC News for your coverage and broadcast a moment of expressing our desire and wishes to have a separate electorate known as Kutubu-Bosavi Open Electorate. I send my gratitude to the Electoral Boundaries Review Committees and Southern Islands Provincial Government Reps to visit Pimaga Sub-District to collect the views of the people. I am grateful to thank the committee members and leaders of the proposed district for working together. United we stand with one voice and one people. We have expressed our views to have a new separate electorate before the 2022 National General Election. According to Papua New Guinea's 2011 National Census, the total population of Southern Islands Province is 546,263 spread across 33,800 square kilometers, 9,189 square miles, which make it the most highly populated and demographically the largest province in the country. And compared to other districts in the province, neither Kutubu district has the highest populations of 147,005. The land area and populations are too much for one representation in parliament. The service delivery is not effectively and equitably delivered to the entire district, and it is normal or quite often that the border people are the most neglected people because the area is too big for a single member of parliament. There has been over the years inequality in the distributions of goods and services, lack of representation and by the successive members of parliament. Kutubu rate amongst the poorest in Papua New Guinea. Even the Kutubu crude oil and gas are extracted from our source. There are several reasons for this disadvantage, the most significant being demography and remoteness, which conspire to render service provision expensive and difficulties. The Kutubu people have not often complained that they have not benefited from the oil and gas production. It is this discontent which has fueled the calls for a Kutubu-Bosavi Open Electorate, which might have led to the shutting down of the Kutubu oil and gas project. The provincial government and the national government through the EPC must be very mindful and supportive of the existing Niba Kutubu Open Electorate to be split as such large number of populations and landmass. It is hard to administer and provide adequate services to the majority of the electorate covering the entire district by a single member of parliament. You look at the Bougainville crisis. At one time, the people of Bougainville were very quiet, silent, friendly, and good people. But because of the government ignorance and lack of fair distributions of wealth, have started civil war known as crisis. This protracted and violent conflict in Bougainville has caused lives, deaths of hundreds and thousands of soldiers and rifles. An estimated of 10,000 to 15,000 innocent civilian lives were lost. Approximately most soldiers that went to war never returned home. Families lost their loved ones. At the outset of the war, there were no national cemeteries, no burial details, and no messengers of loss. The largest human civil war in PNC history. The civil war forced a young nation to confront death and destructions in a way that has not been equaled before. The crises have come in a form of a rebellion in the North Solomons province, one of the wealthiest provinces in the nation and home of one of the largest copper mines in the world. The government has lost royalties from the copper mine that produces 44% exports and 16% gross domestic product since 1972. And over 100 Papua New Guineans have lost their lives in battle. These provide insight into the causes and consequences of a rebellion which, if not successfully resolved, could set back the development potentials of this small resources-rich nation by a generation. My generation and generations of today's digital and technology, generations of educated elites of the 21st century cannot repeat the past. Mufti Menk, a well-known leader in the Islamic community, once said, "Being quiet and gentle doesn't mean you are weak. Such people show deep inner strength that's under control. It's knowing when to speak and when to listen, when to take action and when to wait. Don't underestimate such people. They walk the earth with the greatest strength. There is an unspoken presence of pain. suffering and grievances in many homes and villages of Kutubu and Bosavi that may have committed suicides and civil conflict, known as crisis. Injustice and ongoing ignorance will be igniting conflict and civil war. Kutubu people have given the government a rather cold reception to the 1990s until today, and Papua New Guinea's economic rode on the back of a Kutubu's rich crude oil. The great leaders of Kutubu, our people, resources owners of the land, have not entered into a discussion with the state and developers like what is happening in other parts of the country and world. The pleas for better service delivery were overlooked by the state. Thus, it is past time the government look into this issue as a matter of essence and give Kutubu and Bosavi a new separate electorate.